Hey there everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of baby cries. It's a topic every parent, caregiver, and even curious onlooker has wondered about. We've all been there, right? That moment when your tiny human, who you love more than anything, suddenly turns into a miniature red-faced opera singer, and you have absolutely no idea what they want. It's like they're speaking a language only they understand. Is it a dirty diaper? Are they hungry? Are they tired and need a nap? Or maybe they just need a cuddle. Sometimes it feels like you're playing a never-ending guessing game. Did they drop their favourite toy? Or perhaps they're just feeling a bit lonely and need some attention. Don't worry, I'm here to help you crack the code. Together we'll figure out what those cries mean. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down all the different types of baby cries. From the I'm hungry wail to the I'm tired whimper. You know, like that I'm starving wail that sounds suspiciously like a tiny lion roaring for its dinner. We've got them all, and trust me, once you know the signs, it gets a lot easier. So buckle up, grab your sense of humour, and get ready to become a baby whisperer. By the end of this video, you'll be decoding those cries like a pro.
All right, let's start with the basics. Hunger. Babies gotta eat, right? And when they're hungry, they'll let you know. We're talking about that classic, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse cry. You know the one. It starts as a low whimper, then escalates into a full-blown, ear-piercing wail. Think about it this way. You know how you get when you miss a meal? Yeah, babies are 10 times worse. They haven't quite mastered the art of patience yet, so when their tummy's rumbling, they turn into these tiny, demanding little creatures who want their milk. Like yesterday. When they're in this state, the only thing that's gonna satisfy them is a good old-fashioned feeding. Trust me, you'll know when they're truly hungry.
Okay, so we've covered the hangry cry. Now, let's talk about another common one. The I'm so tired I could cry cry. You know the one that sounds like a grumpy old man who missed his afternoon nap? Picture this. Your little one is rubbing their eyes, yawning like they haven't slept in days, and their cries are less of a scream and more of a drawn-out groan. Yep, that's your cue, folks. Your little bundle of joy is officially running on fumes. They're overstimulated, exhausted, and ready to crash. So what's the solution? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Dim the lights, put on some soothing music, and create a calm and cozy environment for your little one to drift off to dreamland. All right, we've tackled hunger and sleepiness. Now let's dive into a slightly less adorable but equally important reason for those baby cries: tummy troubles. You know that feeling you get after you've eaten way too much at a buffet? Yeah, babies get that too. Except they haven't quite figured out how to say, "Excuse me, I think I overdid it on the mashed peas." So instead, they cry. And it's not a cute little whimper either. They might even pull their legs up to their tummy, clench their little fists, and turn a lovely shade of crimson. But don't worry, there are ways to help your little one through these digestive dilemmas.
Okay, let's be real, folks. There's one cry that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most experienced parents: the I just filled my diaper cry. And the worst part? It always seems to happen at the worst possible moment, like right when you're about to sit down to a hot meal, or when you're finally getting ready for bed after a long day. It's like babies have a sixth sense for knowing exactly when to stage a diaper blowout. But here's the good news. Diaper changes, while not the most fragrant of experiences, are a necessary evil. And once you get the hang of it, you'll be a diaper-changing ninja in no time.
So, we've covered the biggies: hunger, sleepiness, tummy troubles, and diaper explosions. These are the usual suspects when it comes to why your baby might be crying. But what about those times when your baby is crying and you've ruled out all the obvious culprits? It can be quite puzzling and frustrating. Well, my friends, that's when you enter the wonderful world of discomfort cries. These cries are a bit more subtle and can be caused by a variety of minor irritations. A wrinkle in their clothes, a tag that's scratching their skin, the temperature of the room. All of these things can send them into a spiral of tears. Even the smallest discomfort can feel huge to them. It's like they have a built-in sensor for anything that's even slightly off. They are incredibly sensitive to their environment, and they're not afraid to let you know about it. Their cries are their way of communicating that something isn't quite right. But don't worry, you don't need to be a mind reader to figure out what's bothering your little one. With a bit of patience and observation, you can decode their cries. Just pay attention to their cues. Look for patterns and try to understand what might be causing their discomfort. Your attentiveness will help you soothe them more effectively. Okay, let's talk about colic. Now, colic is a bit of a mystery, even to the experts. It's basically a catch-all term for excessive crying in an otherwise healthy baby. They'll cry for hours on end, usually around the same time each day, and nothing seems to soothe them. It's enough to drive any parent bonkers, but remember, this phase is temporary. In the meantime, there are a few things you can do to try and calm your little opera singer down. Ouch! Recognizing pain cries and when to call the doctor. Now let's talk about pain cries. These are usually pretty easy to distinguish from other cries because they're sudden, intense, and often accompanied by other signs of distress, like a high-pitched scream, clenched fists, or a pained expression. It's like that feeling you get when you stub your toe on the coffee table in the middle of the night. But unlike us, they don't have the luxury of yelling, "Ow, my toe." So they cry. The tiny furnace spotting fever and keeping your cool. Okay, so we've covered a lot of different cries, but there's one more we need to talk about. The fever cry. You see, when babies get a fever, they basically turn into tiny, grumpy furnaces. Their cries might sound more whiny and nasal than usual, and they might be fussier and more irritable than normal. It's basically like watching a tiny human version of a meltdown, but instead of demanding candy, they just want to feel better. The Goldilocks syndrome, mastering temperature control for your little one. Alright, let's talk about temperature. You know how Goldilocks was always complaining about things being too hot or too cold? Well, babies are kind of the same way. They have this uncanny ability to sense even the slightest change in temperature, and they're not afraid to voice their displeasure. So, if your baby is crying and you've ruled out all the other usual suspects, it's worth checking to see if they're too hot or too cold.
Okay, let's be real, folks. Sometimes babies just want attention. And they're not afraid to use their most powerful weapon to get it, their cries. So if your baby is well-fed, well-rested, and has a clean diaper, but they're still crying, there's a good chance they're just feeling a little neglected.
We've all been there. That feeling of being completely overwhelmed by too much noise, too many people, too much stimulation. Well, babies get sensory overload too. Imagine being a tiny human who's just starting to understand the world around them. Everything is new, everything is exciting, and everything is loud. So if your baby is crying and you're in a busy or stimulating environment, there's a good chance they're just feeling a little overwhelmed. All right, parents, you've made it through the crash course on baby cries. Congratulations on surviving the initial stages of deciphering those mysterious wails and whimpers. Now, before we wrap things up, I wanted to share a few bonus tips for handling those meltdown moments with a little bit of humour. Because, let's be honest, a good laugh can sometimes be the best remedy for a stressful situation. Because let's face it, sometimes, the only way to survive parenthood is to laugh at the chaos. Embracing the absurdity of the situation can make those tough moments a bit more bearable. First up, remember that you're not alone. Every parent has faced these challenges, and it's a universal experience that binds us all together. Every parent on this planet has been there, done that, and probably still has the stained t-shirt to prove it. Those little messes are badges of honor in the journey of parenthood. So, cut yourself some slack, embrace the mess, and remember that this too shall pass. These moments, though challenging, are fleeting and will soon be memories you look back on with a smile. Second, don't be afraid to get a little silly. Let your inner child come out and play. Babies love to laugh, and sometimes a well-timed funny face or a silly song can be just the distraction they need to snap out of a crying jag. It's amazing how a little humor can turn things around. Plus, it's a great way to relieve some of that parental tension. Laughter is a powerful tool that can lighten the mood and bring joy to both you and your baby. So keep smiling, keep laughing, and enjoy the beautiful chaos of parenthood. So there you have it, a crash course in decoding the mystery of baby cries. We've covered everything from hunger and sleepiness to tummy troubles and sensory overload. And while it might seem like a lot to remember, trust me, you'll get the hang of it. Just remember to be patient, be observant, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Parenting is a wild ride, but it's also the most rewarding experience in the world. And hey, if all else fails, there's always chocolate. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Amazing Life Guru channel.